This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 166.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host, Clay Trader.
Now, I'm assuming you saw it in the headline, or the thumbnail, I should say, but this is part 2. So if you have not listened to episode 165, go back, listen to that, and that way the journey will just be that much more cohesive, and I think you'll get more of it. So again, episode 165 is where you can find part number 1 with Brian, and I'm sure you enjoyed part 1 as much as Ches and I did with it. So let's get to it. Let's get back to part number 2 and close out this journey with Brian.
Right. Well, yeah. So, where am I? So I'm looking into options. I actually get super successful trading or paper trading options. And this is where I think I kind of messed up a little bit, because instead of swing trading options, I was paper trading day trading options, and I was doing it like during my plans. And then there was one week where I made like $3,000 on paper, and I was like, dang. And then that Saturday was the hardest day I ever worked at my second job, because I'm like, I'm making $15 an hour here, and by the time I'm done my shift, so I work 10 hours on Saturdays, I'll make $150, and I made this much in like an hour in the stock market. Wow, this is really hard. So I was like, man, that's really hard. So I called my wife and like, this is a really hard shift. I think maybe I should go live. And we actually end up going to talk to our mentors. Hey, this is what I've been doing. What do you think? And they were just very cautious, because this whole journey, I've always been hesitant to talk to people about the stock market other than my wife, because most people that I've encountered have a stereotypical gambling mentality on the stock market. And so, or they don't understand exactly what I'm doing. And I'm willing to sit down and explain to them what I'm doing, but it's like, I'm running into, well, that's just gambling. You should never do that. I'm like, okay, well, do you know what a stop loss is? So that being said, I went and talked to my mentors, and like, well, just understand that if you go live, you could lose it all. And we just don't want you to get in a situation where you have to have that money. And which brings us back to the budget. It's like, no, we understand if we lose this money, we're still fine. We can still pay all of our bills and eat and have a roof over our head. Great. So they're like, okay, well, then do whatever you want to do. So we decided to go live. And I will tell you, listening to the podcasts and listening to some of the webinars, you guys talk about the voices in your head. Man, they are loud when you go live.
They're loud and they're very real, aren't they?
So I was astonished by how many, like, paper trading, I'm like, oh, I feel like I can fabricate emotions pretty well and it mentally, but no, not even close to being true. When I went live, I was, the amount of things that came through, like, oh, sell it now. Oh, buy it now. Buy more. Sell now. What? Or, no, it'll go down. No, it's going to go up. Wait, okay. Maybe I shouldn't do this right now. But, because I'm trading on my plans, right, during when I'm teaching. And so, like, so I went live 3 weeks ago, and I was red the first week, and I think I commented in the chat room, I was like, I've been red most of the time, but I still have an account. Because one of the biggest things I took from all your podcasts and all of your training is you can be wrong most of the time as long as you honor your stop losses. And so, yes, I've lost more than I've won, but those losses, my biggest loss has been $100. And
you can survive.
So I can survive that. So it wasn't like I am not dying. Although I have been getting discouraged, because like, man, because my chart vision, like, I can recognize patterns. I feel very confident and recognize patterns and trends and all that. But it wasn't till, I think it was podcast 124. I think his name was Jeff or Eric. I don't know. But when he was talking about the gap up and the psychology of the gap up, And I realized it kind of clicked for me that I'm missing a aspect of my trading, and that's I'm not thinking about the psychology. I'm literally just looking at what the chart is doing, which is fine, I guess. But I'm not thinking of, oh, what would other people be thinking at this point? And so my mind kind of shifted, and the last couple days I've been green. I mean, not hugely green because I'm sticking with like one or two contracts, but like looking at both the chart patterns and actually adding in the thought process of what is the psychology of the market right now, that has actually changed the way I look at it, and it's been really helpful. So I don't remember if that was podcast 124, but I don't remember who it was. But I remember what they were talking about, and that it kind of shifted for me. It kind of changed how I looked at the market.
Nice. Have you been on any of the recent live webinars in the past few weeks?
I can't make the live webinars just because of my schedule, but I watched the archived ones a lot.
So have you watched the archive ones from the past few weeks?
No, I'm catching up from there too. I think I'm on like 70.
Okay, I would say fast forward to Ches. What is it? We just did what, episode
past
164, 160. Like if you go to the mid 160s, I would encourage you to just jump ahead to those, because what I've started to do, and this is why I asked in the first place, is really focus more on the psychology of pretty much what you just described of, all right, what would other people be thinking if they were seeing what I'm seeing? And moral of the story here, you would get based off what you're talking about, you would get a whole lot of value in like the mid 160s. So skip ahead to the archives. I think it's maybe like 164, 165, 166, somewhere right around there. But give those a watch, and they'll complement very nicely this kind of current little mindset that you've shifted in terms of paying more attention to the psychology itself. But Ches made an observation. We always talk behind the scenes in Slack. So Ches, why don't you bring that up? Because that's a good potential talking point.
So you said you have two planning periods, right? What time are those planning periods for?
Let's see. The first one, I gotta think. I do it by like first hour, second hour, so I need to think about what time that is. 11:30.
Oh, I mean, even okay, all right. So it's sometime around lunch. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you? Because we've had people who say they can only trade during their lunch hour, things like that. The only thing I want to check with you here is that, do you ever feel that you are putting a trade on, even if it's a subpar trade, because this is your 1 hour to trade or anything like that? Or will you flat out have days where you pass on pretty much whatever's out there because nothing looks ripe to you? I just want to make sure you're not forcing trades in a set amount of time, because you have a very, very tight schedule. You only have X amount of time to be looking at charts. So I guess I just want to make sure that you're not forcing trades in, say, the 1 or 2 hours that you have. So I guess, do you ever have days where you don't put any trades on at all? You just don't see anything that
now
appeals
I do.
to you?
But in the first few days, like I definitely did that. I was like, man, no, I have time. I can do it right now. So I look for something, and I would make stuff up. I was just like, oh, yeah, that looks fine. I'll trade there. And then honestly, my biggest loss, the $100 loss, was off of a forced, almost revenge trade in a sense. Like, no, I need to make a trade to see if I can make money. So yes, I did that one time, and then I was like, that's stupid. That did not feel good. Like I didn't like, because I was aware of, after I did the trade, I was like, that was stupid. I forced that. I don't want to do that again. So,
do you know? Did your psychology register why you forced it though?
I don't know if.
Do you understand what Ches is getting at though? Because it's a very valid point about why you actually forced that stuff. Does that make sense to you?
I think it was. Yes, I don't think it was that I only had an hour, because I think it was more of, I want to make money. So I was like, no, I want to make a trade. Well, no, I guess no, you're right. It is a little bit of a time constraint thing that happened. Because it was like, I want to make money. I only have...
I think...
yeah, you're 100% correct.
Exactly. Boom. I want to make money, and I only have... Boom. So, there it is.
No,
and
absolutely.
That's why Ches observed that. I missed it, which I'm kind of upset at myself. But for you listeners out there, that's a very, very real thing. And one of the cruelest jokes that the market does to people is, when people have time off from work because of some, time of year, right around Christmas or New Year's or something, people get time off, or maybe right around Easter. But point being, when people get time off, they're like, yes, I finally have a day off. I can sit in front of my computer and trade. And guess what the market actually is on those days, most parts? Usually like one of the worst times to be trading, because a lot of the big money leaves, they're taking vacations. So yeah, there's movement, but there can be a lot of choppy movement. And here you have all these people saying, yeah, I can finally trade. And then they're throwing themselves into a very, very choppy market. And they're like, well, what? That didn't go. Well, you probably shouldn't have been trading in the first place. So that's kind of one avenue of, hey, I have the day off. I finally get to sit on my computer. I want to make money, and I have today. So let's go. And you can start, like you said, Brian, you can start to kind of imagine things and see things. In your case, just a little bit different. But yeah, I'm glad you're aware of that now. But I really want to make sure that you're extra aware of it, because yeah, that's exactly, there's from all the data that I've gathered in terms of speaking with people, and I know Ches has talked with plenty of people, that played a big role in that $100 loss, and probably why you're starting off pretty red, because you're just like, hey, I'm live. I want to make money, but I only have an hour, or I only have X amount. And as soon as you only have, and then you insert in X amount of time, you just be very careful of that. And I'm, to you and to listeners out there, because that's your mind can get very creative in a sense. And all of a sudden, in the name of I'm being disciplined, I'm looking at chart patterns, that's what the voice is going to hide behind. You're seeing stuff that doesn't actually really exist. So thank you for sharing that, because that's a great example of the threats of only having a certain amount of time. So, yeah. Do you remember what that $100 loss trade was? Was that...
Let me go back through. I think I wrote it down in my trading journal. 1 second.
Nice. Well, you have a trading journal.
Yeah, it was on Baba. Yeah.
And that one's been very volatile the past several weeks, so that would make sense why. But you would say it was totally... I mean, do you remember the dynamics? What did you think you saw when now in reflection it probably wasn't any of that stuff that you had imagined?
So I thought... Hold on. I think what it was... Oh, yeah, no. So I thought it was going to retest... It was going back in a channel, back and forth in a channel, and I was like, man, if it breaks, I think it's gonna run. So it did one of those things where it like fake breaks out and then tanked the other way. So that's what happened.
Okay, all right, and you just didn't honor the stop loss where you should have honored it, or did you add to the fake breakdown or something?
No, I didn't add to it. I've never added to a position just because I have a small account. But what happened was that one was actually both a forced trade and a clumsy thumbsy.
Okay. Logistical error type trade.
I put in as a limit order instead of a market on accident, as a stop, so it didn't go through. And then I was like, oh, crap. So then I quickly switched it over to a market and got out. But, so that was my biggest loss there.
Gotcha. So when it rains, it pours type thing is you forced the trade, and then you had some logistical issues clicking the wrong buttons. We've all been on the wrong button end of things. For sure. But that was you've been live for 3 weeks, so that was a couple weeks ago, or when exactly did you say that was?
That was my first few days, actually.
Okay, so that was totally, like you said, when you were probably forcing trades and because of that time constraint, which we already discussed. And you fast forward to now,
you're so today,
to go green. It sounds like you're focusing on the psychology, like you already said, but it also sounds like maybe you couldn't quite put your finger exactly on what it was, but hopefully after this discussion with us, you're now well aware of being on your guard against hey, I only have an hour, so I got to force a trade. But would you say that probably has something to do with it too, other than focusing on psychology? You're now well aware of the whole, time constraints and why you got to be careful of that.
That's one of the reasons I was excited about this week, because my wife is in California right now, hanging out with some friends, and I stayed here so I could trade and work. Because honestly, it's fun for me. So it was great. Like today, I had one $20 loss and then one $80 win. So I was like, hey, that's good.
That is very good. Well, I guess let's see, where do we want to go with this? First, let's just start off with, what is your strategy right now? Are you doing just straight up options, or what exactly are you looking to kind of try to do if you had to summarize your overall strategy?
Yeah, so right now,
as a trader right now,
I am focused on day trading options. I want to take the advanced options course to then move into swing trading options, just so I can not have to monitor it so much. But yeah, so I'm just looking for, I like triangle patterns and just breaking key supports and key resistances is what I'm looking for, and volume with that as well.
Well, that's good. And I'm assuming that you had spent extensive time paper trading those specifically. Those kind of people always ask us all the time, well, if you're not teaching us a specific strategy or anything like that, you're just showing us the tools. How did you find what felt best for you? And I'm hoping the answer is something to do with practice. Did you try a bunch of different strategies, bull flags, bear stuff, anything like that? Or did these just kind of jump out at you and these are the ones you really kind of feel comfortable trading? They just kind of leap off the screen?
Oh yeah, no, so when I was going through the courses, I would be paper trading while I was doing that. So we would talk about a new strategy. I'd go look for that strategy and try and see how it worked. And so yeah, I tried a ton of strategies on paper, and those are the ones that kind of came out and kind of stuck out to me. Also, kind of seems like the ones that happen most often, and at least at the stocks I'm looking at. So.
Well, that brings up
that's where I got those strategies.
That brings up a good point. The stocks you're looking at. So, is it safe to assume you have a basket of stocks, a very limited number that you look at every day?
Yes, I do. I look for high volume. At the beginning, I was looking for only stocks that were in an uptrend. So I use FinViz as a screener. So I would set my screener to the 50 SMA needs to be above the 200 SMA, and then it needs to be this much. I think I put over 1 million or 2 million volume, and then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I also put a +1 on average daily movement, so over $1.
And then, sorry, go ahead, Chaz.
I was gonna say, so what specific indicators do you use? Do you have a blend of 40 indicators? Obviously, price and volume are huge in the type of patterns you're trading, but obviously in your scanners you're using moving averages. So what does your actual chart look like?
So I use candlesticks, and then I have Bollinger Bands, but I have them where they're almost invisible, so they're not like sticking out or muddying up my screen. And then I have volume. And then I have level 2s, and I actually like the time and sales, so I can see how many orders are going through. But that's it. Oh no, that's not true. And the 9, 50, and 200 SMA.
Nice. So pretty basic stuff. It's not like you're reinventing the wheel or anything.
Yeah, no.
I like the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. And I guess as far as, so it's not like you're only looking at BABA, Apple, SPY, and Tesla, for example. You're open to trading of various tickers, or you focus on a basket of ticker symbols specifically? Or are you open to whatever based on that search criteria you gave us?
So there's I kind of feel like I'm the Bachelor with stocks. Like I'm trying to get.
That's good.
I'm dating a few right now. There's like a handful that I'm like focused on to learn their patterns, to try and narrow down like one, like having a bread and butter stock, or I think as you say, get romantic with it, which is hence my Bachelor reference.
Do you hand out roses?
I do. At the end of the day, I hand out a rose too as ticker symbol. I have a stock.
Guilty
Anyways.
Pleasure. We won't go there. And yeah, keep on going, Brian.
I don't actually watch The Bachelor. I just know the reference. Anyways, so but I'm open to other stocks. So like I'll do a scan every morning, and if something new comes up, I'll look at it. Or like if like in the inner circle, if something comes through, and I'll look at it and be like, that's not for me. Or I'm like, oh, I'll watch this for a second, see what it does. But yeah, no, I'm definitely open to other stocks. There's just like 4 or 5 that I'm dating, if you will, to learn them.
So obviously, you have been extremely methodical going into this entire endeavor. You mean your wife's involved. There's budgets and spreadsheets, and overcoming a tornado going over your house. So obviously, you have a passion for this stuff. What I'm interested in is, what is your plan looking forward here? What do you hope to achieve throughout the rest of 2018 and the next 5 years? I don't need you to do it month by month, but what's your overall goal for trading in general and just how you're going to approach as you move forward?
Well, so that's an interesting question because I'm actually on a track to exit the education profession. Because over my time, I've helped several of my friends get set up on a budget and just kind of say, hey, if you change this little here, you could be saving this much, and you could pay off that debt or whatever. So I've actually found a passion in helping friends and some family members get set up on a budget and actually help them track it. And so about in the summer, I actually decided so on top of all this, I'm actually taking a certification course to become a certified financial planner to help people. And I know you guys talked about financial planners, but I am more interested in helping people get set up on budgets. So in the 5-year plan, I'll eventually leave the education profession and eventually become a certified financial planner. But I want to continue to trade as a supplemental income. So I am working and trying to hone my skills, hone my methods, hone my strategies, and potential. Because in the summers, because this summer I already have a job lined up, but it doesn't start till noon, so I can trade all morning and then go to my job at noon. So that's why I kind of want to start now and continue to work and progress towards that direction, and then eventually. A long term is open my own financial planning business and investment banking or not investment banking, but help people invest and get in the stock market for themselves.
Nice. That's we're very similar in that regard in terms of, hey man, anybody can do this financial stuff. Sometimes you just need a little boost to set up a budget and all that sort of stuff. So that's that's awesome. I guess. Well, You said your one job wouldn't be done till noon. Is that Oklahoma time or is that Eastern time?
Oh, I wouldn't start till noon. That's Oklahoma time.
So what time is that Eastern? Is that 2?
That's 1 Eastern.
Okay, you guys are Central time?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that's perfect because by that time the market's it's maybe there's something every now and then, but for what you would be looking to do, you'll have all the peak hours right at your fingertips. Right. What I want to ask about, though, is always a fascinating concept. Did you ever, like you said, I love how you said when you went live, the voices are really loud. Were any of these voices geared around losses? I guess my main question here is, what was your kind of viewpoint? How did you deal with losses earlier on? And then, fast forward to today, for example, where here you sit, you did a great job. You took that $20 loss, and you clearly bounced back from it. It clearly didn't affect you that much because you went on to then make 4 times that amount, with the $80 win. So talk losses. Were those ever a struggle for you, or what?
Yeah, I'm only 3 weeks into my live here, but yes, at the very beginning, after the first week, I started doubting everything. I'm like, well, man, maybe I don't know how to read a technical pattern. Or I would have a loss. And I'm like, dang it, that really sucks. And I'd be like, shoot, I guess I'm not good at this. And so I start hearing those voices be like, no, you're not good. You should probably stop. Or you probably shouldn't trade again. You might as well just take the rest of your account out and put it towards something else because this ain't working. But then I just have to remind myself, I'm like, no, I can handle that loss. It's just the system. The system, you'll take some losses, but then you'll come back and you'll have a win that wipes out all those losses. So I'm not quite to break even yet, but I'm moving more green this week than I have in the last 2 weeks. So, losses at the beginning were really tough because, as a as a new trader, it's like, man, and with a new trader with a small account, the losses were a bigger deal to me, I think. Well, I'm not going to say that, but they're a big deal because it's like, wow, I mean, I can handle $100 loss, but it's always the fear of, well, if that goes even further, but, you know, because, you know, stop orders don't always hit, so.
Right, but that's the beauty of having a plan, though, is you will prevent any of those huge portfolio fires. And I assure you, you are completely normal and feeling that, I used to question myself all the time, especially new, and this is the one kind of job where it'll make you question if you know what you're doing, especially in the beginning. But I promise you, with kind of time and just, pretty much just keeping at it, you nailed it on the head. Take small losses all day, because one winner can pay for 5 to 10 losses, no problem. It's just a matter of kind of being ready for it and spotting it and keeping your confidence and self assurance up. But
let me jump in just real quick, because I mean, it's amazing how you said that. It's even to this day, even when I take a loss, it's like, man, does my strategy actually work, or am I what? Now, granted, at this point in time, that thought lasts for, I don't know, like 3 seconds, and I'm like, what are you talking about, you? But it's amazing, even to this day, with just the power of a loss, and how a single loss, even if you've won a bunch of times, can all of a sudden be like, oh, does this actually, are you being wise, Clay? Does this strategy actually work? So you're definitely not alone, to Chez's point. Everybody struggles with it. I only struggle with it, so I can't really say that it ever goes away, but the time goes away. Because like I said, the thought pops up, but it's not like I sit there and lay in bed and look up at the ceiling. No, the thought usually shows up. Then 2 seconds later, 3 seconds later, it's gone. But Chez, that's crazy stuff. The human mind, how much a loss can really just shake you a little bit. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I forgot another time we talked about it. You could have 10 winning trades, and the one losing trade you have makes you question everything, and you're like, wait a minute. I just had 10 winning trades with this strategy. I take one loss, and I'm going to sit here and really question if I need to change and do something different. But yeah, it's amazing how the psychology works.
Well, so yeah, that exact thing happened, because like I had that loss, and it was actually the day after I had my biggest loss, I started questioning my entry point. I said, well, what if it goes against me again? And then turns out I was 100% correct, and it went in the exact direction I thought it would, and I didn't want to chase it, so I just set it out. And so that loss the previous day made me second guess my entry point, which eventually, honestly, if I just would have trusted the system and trusted the chart, then I would have erased that and all my other losses, but I didn't.
It happens. It's that's just
the
how it goes.
Recency effect, isn't it, Chez?
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely the recency effect. So that's just a part of it. But I'm telling you, the more times you see that, you'll start to just go, I know this feels uncomfortable to put this trade on, but I know it's what I'm supposed to do here, and you'll just start acting more and more mechanically. And honestly, I'm not worried about you. You got a plan, you got a strategy, you know what you're doing. It's just a matter of pretty much sticking to it. But if you had to kind of analyze and decide what you think your particular strengths are for trading, what do you think those strengths would be?
I think I would say I'm not afraid to admit when I don't know something and need to figure something out. So like if I'm not confident in something, I know I feel like I do a pretty good job at saying, I need to take a step back, maybe visit paper trading some more before I put real money into it.
That's actually a super good strength to have. And
absolutely.
A lot of people, Chez and I come across, and who knows, maybe you as a listener come across people where you're just like, can you just admit that maybe you don't know, or can you just maybe admit that you're not quite sure of what, I mean, some people, they just don't want to necessarily fess up to a few things. But yeah, fessing up in the world of trading, especially when it's like, all right, you're going to need to tap the brakes, or, I mean, it's that's definitely a good strength to have. On the flip side, as you're, we've talked some weaknesses that it sounds like you've corrected, especially the whole, I only have an hour, therefore I want to make money, so let's do that. But I mean, do you have anything else that you're kind of aware of out there that you want to, just kind of stay focused on and keep getting better and better at?
Yes, I still have a tendency. I am. Anytime I feel this, I just try not to trade. But like I have a tendency, like if I have a losing trade, to want to jump right back in. And just kind of fighting that basically revenge trading. I I've done that twice and it hasn't worked out. So every time I feel that, I just like, you know what? I'm going to be done for the day and go do something else. So
nice. And every time I feel that, that's one of those things where I don't think the three of us can really quantify for you. I don't think that's a quantifiable measure. That is just, you got to get to know the voices in your head. And that's going to be a little bit different for all of us. But you're exactly right, Brian. Whenever you feel that, then yeah, it's a big, I don't know how to explain it because it sounds like we're a bunch of psychos talking about this stuff right now to listeners if you've never traded.
Right.
But
seriously,
the feel that voice, once you get to know that voice, that's a step in the right direction. So I fully agree with Ches that you're trending in the direction, you're on the path that you want to go. So it's good to hear that green is showing up now, but also the way you talk and the way you're describing things with the feel that voice. That's the voice that everybody needs to have. Ches, I mean, I don't know. You know your feel that voice, right, Ches?
Yeah, absolutely. And it took time to kind of recognize when it's coming out and just being a roaring nightmare. But yeah, it's now I understand and I'm able to kind of wrangle and understand it. But yeah, it definitely took some time for me.
Yeah. My feel that voice, I think, is geared more towards anger. Like, what the?
Yep.
I can be an intense person if you haven't noticed earlier on when Brian sent me into my rant. But I think my feel that is, and it's different for everybody. But mine comes more from just what do you and then all of a sudden, wait, what are you doing, you idiot? Why are you? And then, but now I know that if I feel the kind of like I take it personal almost, and then I get mad and I'm like, oh, you want to play? You want to go? And then I'm like, wait a second, why are you talking to your screen in your head right now? Like that stock has a personality, can hear you. What are you psychopath? But we are psychopaths, aren't we? As traders, I mean, yeah,
pretty much.
You literally have to get to know the voices in your head. But that's so good. I'm glad that you've started to figure out that feel that voice. Anything else that you are aware of that you want to continue to work on?
Probably just I want to get better at the first. Obviously, when I'm teaching, I can't do this, but I want to get better at like the first 20 minutes of the day. Because so far, I've just kind of been sitting that out. Or at least this week, I've just been kind of sitting that out because I have never paper traded the first 20 minutes of the day. But it seems like there's money to be made there, and I want to get better at that. So that's something I want to work on.
I mean, if you're scalping options, if you're looking to day trade them, then the first 20 minutes, you're playing it right. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you don't want to just show up and be like, hey, I'm going to trade the first 20 minutes because that's a whole nother monster in and of itself. Right. But what you're noticing, that's why I say that job in the summer when it starts at noon Oklahoma time, you'll have plenty of time because you'll have not only the first 20 minutes, but for me, I like that first 60 to 90-ish minutes. That'll be a good area of the time for you. As far as, I mean, you've talked about this sporadically, routines and rituals. You earlier.
Sorry, that was my phone.
Was it? Okay, so that wasn't a weird voice in my head that I never heard before. Okay. Be happy. All right, good. I was going to make you never know. Like I said, us traders are psychos. I thought maybe a new voice just popped up out of nowhere that I'd never met before, so I was going to introduce myself.
I thought my phone was on silent. I apologize.
That's fine. We were getting to know your dog and your cell phone. Right? But anyways, ritual-wise, you mentioned that, if I remember right, back, you'll get home and then you'll spend like an hour or so looking at the markets. Is that what you're doing? Not when you're on spring break. Do you still do that, or are you just trying to wake up extra early? Let me ask it this way. Cut me some slack, okay? We've been talking for quite a while now, but what does your current routine look like? Take yourself out of spring break, but now that you're alive, now that you're looking to do things, I know you're trying to do it during that lunchtime. But after that, I mean, when you're getting home, when are you doing your homework and when are you kind of doing your prep work?
Okay, so backtrack a little bit. I am currently trying to lose some weight because I'm a little overweight, and I'm doing a program called Healthy Wage, which actually will pay me money to do it, which is another way I'm trying to get more money. I've heard about that. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I've already made like, at the end of this month, I'll get like $300 because I've lost enough weight. So basically what it is, real fast, is You just
Yeah,
you pick.
please. How does that work? I saw it and I thought, that's got to be a scam.
No, I thought it was a scam too, but I vetted them like I vetted you guys, so it was great.
Yeah, so how does that work?
So basically, what it does is you put in your age, sex, weight, height, and then you put in how much weight you want to lose over how many months and how much money you want to put in personally. So for me, I'm trying to lose 75 pounds over 9 months, and I'm putting in $50 a month. Well, if I'm successful, they will give back $1,500. So, so basically, I'm putting in $400 with the opportunity to get back $1,500. And then the other thing that you can do is during that course of that 75 pounds, you can sign up for different challenges, up to 10. So right now, I'm finishing up 7 different challenges, which is just 6% weight loss. Well, the weight that I lose from my overall challenge counts for those other mini challenges. And so how that works is you pay $20 a month, and however many people join, it increases the pot, and whoever's successful splits the pot. So I just finished one and got $100 from it. And I'm in one now that the pot is $72,000, but there's 1,500 people in it. So the way, and so I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. How are they going to pay me $1,500 if I only put $400 in? Well, when you go look at their statistics, only 20 to 40% are successful. So that's all that money that they're keeping from people that are putting it in. So that's another way.
So that's their business model. Is if the money that you put in, if you don't lose the weight, they get to keep it.
Right. Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's a brilliant business model. Yeah, because people. Oh, that's a brilliant business model. They know that most people fail.
Right. So,
at losing weight.
Exactly.
Ches, why don't we think of this?
So they're playing the flip side of the coin, and they're going to
exactly. Yeah, they know those statistics. They know how many people fail on diets and exercise. Wait, you mean when I have to run my exercise, my heart starts to pump really fast and it becomes uncomfortable? Screw that $50.
This liquid comes out of my skin. Sweating.
Yeah. What is this wet substance? This is nasty. Screw that $50.
Well,
all right. Okay.
So that's another way I'm making money on the side, but because I need to lose some weight, so I'm motivated by money. If you haven't been able to tell that already, but so I'm doing that, and so like I said, I just weighed out for 5 different challenges, which I was successful in. So I will get however much that pot is for. So, yeah. So the reason I say that is because that changes what my schedule is right now. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I get up at 5 and go run at the gym, and then I come back, shower, eat breakfast. Make my wife breakfast. Then I go to school. Then I'm at school till 3:30. Then go to on some days I don't work every day now just because it was getting to be too much with everything I was trying to do. So I cut back on a little bit on my other job. So I only work, I think, about 20 hours a week now on my second job. So I go at 4 there till 7. Then come home, eat dinner, and then at that point, then I look at the market for the next day and see where I draw any new trend lines I need to. I look at I do my scanner again to see what's been moving. Look at volume, just kind of look at where I think the stock's going to go the next day, and then I work on my CFP coursework, and then have like an hour or 30 minutes to hang out with my wife before it's time to go to bed.
No excuses.
Yes, you are not messing around.
No. Then in fact, it's exhausting. That's why this week has been a really good week, because I've just been able to trade, work a little bit, and kind of relax more, because I'm naturally an introvert, and so I need to be by myself to kind of recharge. And
I was just going to say, you and me sound very similar in that regard, that you just need to recharge the battery sometimes. And, I'm already looking forward to this week, and I'm going to go out into the woods and stuff because it's warm enough out here. But that's how I recharge as well. But, Brian, it's been absolutely awesome having you on. Welcome to an elite club of two-parters.
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? You thought what?
Snuck that in there.
Did you have a sneaking suspicion we were extending this out
Well,
to 2 parts?
I can hear you typing, and I'm watching the time. It says an hour and a half. I'm like, how are they gonna do this? Because it's like not long enough for 2. I don't know.
Oh, we're gonna trim 30 minutes of your inspiring story up. No, not at all. But like I said, It's been absolutely awesome having you on. People are gonna really enjoy these 2 parts here. But I know this is gonna be good. I'm really interested to hear your answer for this. If you were to borrow my time machine and go back and give yourself one piece of advice, not a buy or sell recommendation, what would that one piece of advice be?
Man, I'm trying. I have an answer, but I'm trying to think of something that's not been said.
Don't do that. You've listened to all these episodes. You're probably you're gonna make it like almost impossible on your. Do what you truly think. Don't try to do it out of creativity. Do what's in your gut.
No, I think knowing what I know now, I would have gone back to 2015 when this whole journey started, and just forked over the money for CTU then. And I would have changed how I did the courses though. I would have made it like a pacing guide, which is what I eventually did. Make a pacing guide like, okay, do this many hours this week, this many hours this week. That way I don't get burned out. Because honestly, I feel like, if anything, that's what's kept me from trading the longest, is I just did too much too fast and got burnt out, and then just kind of let it fizzle. And then it's almost like I have to relearn some of this stuff. But so that's what I would say. I would go back 2015, say, hey, just go into CTU, but pace yourself at a more reasonable rate than just doing it all at once. So that's what I would do.
Awesome. That makes a whole lot of sense, because there's a little gig before every webinar where I'm like, hey, you know what? People are new. Just take your time, but the more time you put in, that's great. However, if you've been, around for a long time and you still don't know certain stuff, odds are you're probably rushing through stuff too quickly, because there's a big difference between, hearing something and actually understanding something. And for you Shark Tank fans out there, Alex Rodriguez was recently on there. And then when they were doing the background, they were showing him coach kids. And he says to the kids, after he explains something, am I understood? And my wife and I looked at each other and thought, that's actually really, really brilliant, because that's what we should be saying. Because are you listening? Well, what is it to a kid? Yeah, I heard some like sound waves come in my ear. Yeah, I'm listening. Did you hear me? Yeah, I heard some noises coming in my ear, but am I understood? And that's what I need to start to, do you understand? Because there's a big difference between, I went through the videos, Clay. Yeah, okay, you went through them, you heard them, you listened to them, but did you understand them, or did you fly through them too fast? So I'm actually I'm buying a whole bunch of calls on that bit of advice that you would give yourself, because that makes a whole lot of. You going along too, Ches, on that advice?
Absolutely. I wish I had thought of that, when I started, because I was one of the people who blasted through it but only retained 20% of it, so I had to go through it multiple times. So
I still remember that, Ches, when you way back when we met and he was just coming on. I'm like,
practically set a record.
I was impressed by the beast modeness, but
right.
I'm glad you could say that. Yeah, I was maybe a little bit too much of a beast mode, because So, anyways.
Well, and everything else I'm trying to do at the same time, it just is like, but so that's what I would do.
And like I said, I'm going along a whole bunch of calls on that. Now for the fun stuff. I mean, you probably don't watch TV or movies, or do you even eat? So I don't know how you're going to answer any of these with as much of a hustler as you are. But movie-wise, what is your favorite movie?
Man, I was actually thinking about this because I knew this was coming. And, I really enjoy the Marvel movies. And if I had to pick one, I would have to say the first Avengers. Because I think to me, it was more than just. Okay, this is going to sound like over dramatic.
No. Can I tell you what I think you're going to say? Because I'm pretty sure we're both the same level of dork. To me, I thought it was. I really hope this. Whatever. Who cares? To me, it was like it was cinematic history to see all these different movies, all these different characters, then all of a sudden come together in one movie. It had literally never been done before on that magnitude. Is that what you're going to say?
That is 100% what I was going to say.
Boom. We're geeks, man. We got, what kind of life choices have we made?
Are you guys going to go to the AMC 30-something hour movie marathon?
Well, you joke about that. I did that the first time.
Okay, yeah, but wasn't like 18 hours? That's pretty. Yeah, it's gone up a bit.
Yeah, it was. I think it started at noon and went to midnight, so it was like 12 hours or something like that.
Clay, that's doable for you.
Yeah, that.
But
was,
well, no. So they are now doing a 30-hour one. I'm not going to do that because I know.
I know Clay won't do it strictly because he won't be able to sneak in a backpack full of food and beverages, and he won't be paying for the popcorn at the movie theater for 30 hours.
Ches knows me well. That's exactly it. I'm not paying for any of those concessions.
Well, so they actually did give you it was either a wristband or a card that significantly discounted the concessions because they knew you were going to be there for 12 hours. So they're like, chances are you're going to buy something. So it actually made the concessions kind of a reasonable price.
Oh, they were only 100% overpriced. That's nice of them. That's great. Let's move on. I'm going to go off on another tangent about my cheapness.
Speaking about concessions and overpriced food and stuff like that, Brian, what would you say is your favorite food and dessert?
Well, that's a really hard question for me to answer right now because I'm on the ketogenic diet. But right now, I would say my favorite food is a good steak and fried okra. And my favorite dessert would be a good cheesecake with caramel drizzle.
Nice. Well, you can eat steak if you're on the ketogenic.
Yeah,
I call it keto.
Yeah.
I don't keto. But so steaks are good for the keto.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes,
absolutely.
I can eat steaks, but
So you're just pounding all kinds of healthy fats, huh?
Pretty much.
What's so butter? What's some of your go-to fats?
Bacon.
Bacon. Yep.
And I cook a lot of stuff in butter.
Eggs, olive oil, butter, stuff like that.
So avocado has some good fats in it. Actually, nice. Nuts. So a lot of nuts are too high in carbs.
Oh, are they? Well, yeah. I would imagine. I don't know if salt has carbs in it or not. But do you do any fasting?
So you're a little like intermittent fasting. You're supposed to do don't eat after 6 and then don't eat till next day. I can't remember the window. It's
usually it's like a 16-hour fast.
Yeah, it depends how you schedule it, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, something like that.
Because I know fasting can help with the ketogenic state too, help put you in that state and keep you there and all that sort of stuff. But
and with the exercise, it's really helped. Like I've noticed that because I'm not burning carbs anymore, so every time I run the next day, I'm like a pound or two lighter. So it works.
Yeah. And, I guess you have to use a scale, which that'd be my only pet peeve about this site because I don't like. And here's the other thing. This is the exact other thing that the business model-wise genius is they know that it's almost like a long can you put in more money if you start to lose weight at first?
What do you mean?
Like if you're like, all right, I'll put in $50 and then you weigh yourself a week later and you look at the scale, like, holy crap, now I'm putting in another 50 or I'm going to put in 100. Are you allowed to do that?
Oh, no. Once you have the initial one set, it's set. But you can sign up for more challenges. Like so for me, I'm a pretty open person. I was at 275 and that's when I started, and then I signed up for like 6 challenges. Well, I lost 6% and I finished 6 challenges and I got money for every single one of them. So
nice.
And now I'm down to 245. So
what I expected to hear was, oh yeah, you can add in more money because that first week or two, a lot of that's just water weight and it's not necessarily real weight.
Right.
So I can see people being like, oh, whoa, I just lost 15 pounds. I'm going to crush this. I'm upping stuff up, and then they dump it in because the company knows.
Plateau.
Yeah, and then that when the fat actually starts to come off, then that's when people are gonna get discouraged. But it sounds like they didn't go quite that far. But that's my only pet peeve, or that's my only gripe is I wish you didn't have to use the scale because my motto, and I'm not saying it's right, is I think the best scale out there is your belt. When you are gaining belt loops, let's see, in your favor, right? Or yeah.
Yeah, no, my belt's too small.
When your belt
too big. My belt's too big.
Yeah, when your belt, there we go. The bigger and bigger your belt gets on you in terms of, oh wow, I got to do another belt loop to keep it tight. Oh wow, I got to do another belt loop to keep it tight or my pants fall off. That's the best scale out there because that's true weight loss. Right. Those numbers on the scale, man, they can play too many games with it. Anyways, we are going way off topic. We got to really wrap this thing up.
It's helping people make money,
That's true. Just get out there, lose some weight. But I wanted to make sure that they weren't getting. I don't want people to go throw everything in there because I think they're losing weight and then get discouraged. But they're not doing that anyways within the model.
Right.
So I think that Ches, I'd say that we're good. We've hit I think every nail on the head. Would you agree with that assessment, Ches?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, with that being said, Brian, thank you very, very much for not only taking out time of your spring break for one episode, but actually a 2-part episode. So thank you for hanging out with us for this extended amount of time. And we will have you back for sure, no doubt about it. I'm not even going to ask if you're interested because, you're just getting started with live. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that green showing up, but upon a deeper talk, it makes sense now why that green is starting to show up, because when you first went live and we're meeting the voices, they got you in a couple different ways. But I'm glad to hear that you're uptrending. And thank you very much for hanging out.
Do you guys still do the 3 words?
Oh, crap. Yeah, see? Yeah. Here, why don't you just host the podcast? That's absolutely right. My bad.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm on.
So
that's podcast history right there. You know the podcast format better than I do. But yeah, 3 words, Brian. You can even have 4 if you want, since you had to bring this up. But traditionally, 3 words that you would associate and describe with a successful trader, what would those words be?
Well, so I'm torn between 2 different sets of 3, and one of them is don't blame the market, and the other one is non-victim mentality. I'm using non as a word.
Oh, I love them. Both.
Both. I don't know.
I love them
don't
both.
Blame the.
So.
I'm just going to give you the login for the podcast, and you could just take over the whole thing from here.
Yeah, sure. I agree. Show up whenever you want. If you're going to drop knowledge bombs like that or whatever those things are called, a bunch of things in a few words. But yeah, that's a mic drop. We're going to stop it there. That's absolutely true. Did you know that, though? Because when I went on my victim card rant earlier on, did you realize that you're probably like, oh, he's playing into my fingers perfectly because I'm going to use that victim mentality type thing.
I wrote both of those phrases down before we started, so I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Wow. Well, so that was not scripted. Yeah, that was, and I guess I think about it, my rant is probably on the previous episode since this is a 2-parter, so if you have no idea what rant I'm talking about, I lost it on the previous episode, but for good reason. But, all right, now we really got to wrap things up. So, Brian, thank you again, man. This was a good time, and hence the 2-parter. And, we'll have to have you back. So thank you very much, sir.
It was fun.
Awesome. And for those of you that are wondering, should I volunteer, shouldn't I? There we go. Brian said it was fun, so don't be shy. We'll just have a good time, and we'll laugh. We'll make some jokes, and we'll talk trading. It'll be nothing to be nervous about. Some final things here, though. If you are listening on YouTube, be sure to check out the rest of the channel. But before you do that, click the like button on the video that you're listening to this on. Lots of other content, live trade videos, quick tip videos. We have a vlog, lots of different stuff. So check out the channel. If you're listening on iTunes or any of the other podcast players, make sure to subscribe. And especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a rating, preferably a high star rating, that really helps us out, and just it goes a long way, and we truly do appreciate it. And then finally, if you're listening at claytrader.com on the show notes page, click that share button, and down below the video there's an area to leave comments, which we do read, and we will reply to them, and we always love to hear feedback from people. So that's another choice out there. So again, thank you to all of you as listeners. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to our esteemed co-host Ches. And we will see you back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.